It's going. Hey! Hi, everybody.
What's up?
How you all
Happy
doing?
Friday night.
Give everybody a second to get in here. Let the stream catch up. Rachel's in here. We love Rachel.
Yes.
Hi, Rachel.
Yeah, we do love Rachel. So here. Let's give everyone a few minutes. I'm Rachel's in here. We love Rachel. Wait, sorry. Hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, we do love Rachel. Okay, sorry. My thing was echoing. Okay. Anyways, women cannot do anything right, so I apologize. So how is everybody doing today? How's everybody's week been?
It's been
Pretty
fabulous.
good. I mean, I'm just chilling. This is the best week I've had in like a month. So,
We love that.
yeah.
Honestly,
so,
kind of same.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
immaculate right now.
What did you do? I mean, I don't know. I don't work. I don't have a job. So
I survived my second week at work. I learned a lot.
Woohoo! We love that.
Yes, I'm
I love
learning. I'm getting things handed off to me now, so I'm like a big responsible adult in my corporate job.
Queen.
Cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
love
What
that.
I'm currently working on 2 campaigns for these 2 guys that are running for Congress in New Jersey. And I'm working with another company now. So there's that.
I love that.
Work.
Great.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell us all about that later. I had an interesting thing happen yesterday. I was on a Twitter ban for 4 hours for making fun
Yeah. What happened with that?
The thing that made me so mad about it is it's like for all the things that you're going to get me for, it's for making fun of myself. Like, I literally made a racist tweet that was like black with the black person emoji, white with the white person emoji, and then Asian with the yellow emoji. Like, I say some racist shit and they want to get me for making fun of myself.
That was
But-
like honestly not even a bad tweet either. It wasn't even like you said anything.
Yeah,
that
I
was,
literally
super
said like
bad.
stinky thought. Because like, you know, now everybody thinks. By the way, can we talk about this for 1 second? Do you guys actually shower every day? Because I would like to clear the air.
No,
because
absolutely not.
you don't, right? Okay.
I do it every other day because my hair is going to get too dry. Like,
Right. Yeah, you're not
Exactly.
supposed to wash your hair every day. But like I wash my hair once a week now. I have been hair training for 2 months. But yeah, I don't feel like why do I need to shower if like I didn't do anything, you know?
You don't.
It's like you don't, right?
Right. It's different if you're like
Well,
running and
things-
sweating and something like that. But no, not if you're just having like a normal week or like even like I'll do like yoga and if I like didn't really sweat, like it's fine.
Yeah, like a little sweat won't kill you. Deodorant's actually toxic and cause breast cancer or something like that. I don't know, but
Honestly, that actually scares me. I think about it a lot. I'm like, well, obviously I can't just like not wear deodorant and like I've tried the natural ones and they fucking suck. But I
They
do
do
worry
suck.
like
you have to
we
be
put
about
this
it.
on our body like every single day right there. Like that's not good. It's probably not good for us.
No, it's not. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like humans are just too scared of like a little bit of dirt and sweat, you know, like it won't kill you. But anyways, for the record, I do shower when I need to shower. I'm just not a stinky bitch. Like I don't sweat. I don't like spew BO all the time. Like I'm not a fat person. I don't know. I don't need to like shower all the time. I'm not smelly. But yeah, that's why I got canceled. Is because people were not canceled, banned. I'm always used to getting canceled, but people were making jokes about me still not showering, and I was like, "OMG, did you hear the rumor about Liberty Thought? She never showers. I wouldn't go around her with a 10-foot pole. She's a stinky thought." And then, and I'm like,
honestly funny.
literally eating me for making fun of myself. But anyways, that was
I've
that.
said worse to like other people on Twitter. Like if they like say something to me, I've said way worse to like trolls and shit. Like,
No, but I'm so glad that they
do
like
that.
canceled it and they actually like heard your appeal. So that's like good at least. That
Right.
They
They
fixed
did
it.
hear my appeal. They heard me loud and clear that you can ban me eventually. I don't know, man. I think I got one more strike and I'm out. But we'll
I
see.
almost got banned.
Eventually.
So I almost got banned. Remember when I tweeted ivermectin and Everclear is the
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
oh my god, that's fucking hilarious.
That
Which
was
you
my that was really funny. I was so high when I tweeted that. I was like, what the fuck? And then it's just I see censorship and I'm like, oh shit.
I think I'm trying to remember. I think I liked that tweet. I think I thought that maybe I shouldn't retweet it because like that's when like you had already been banned for like tweeting it.
Bro,
And I'm like, oh, I guess I better not.
Tweeted, you guys know who Drew is, right? So I commented under Drew's comment on my post. I said, what was it? I said like ivermectin and orange juice is the cure to COVID, and it still got censored. What the?
They're censoring you specifically because I think I tweeted like ivermectin and anal sex is the cure to COVID, but they didn't get me for that one. Maybe it's right. Maybe if you have COVID, you should have anal sex. I don't know. I didn't try it when I had COVID, but
pushing misinformation.
Literally.
Misinformation. No, my week's been really good though. I have like some big stuff that I'm not quite ready to announce yet, but just like I've been dealing with like a lot of things like personally. Good things are coming though in the future, and I'm really excited for that.
So like I have a few good things coming up now. Like I mean, I'm doing a lot better than I was like emotionally like about a month or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Like it's probably the best month I've had in the last 6 months of my life. So
yeah.
I'm just living.
We love that.
Yes.
Well, and then I know like tonight we're wanting to like let Sarah kind of like tell her story about like her political journey.
Yeah. So for anybody, I think we've got like a good amount of people in here now. So for anybody that is joining in, this is Sara Razi. She is one of my besties, and I met her on Twitter, and I have actually met her in real life too. But yeah, Sarah. But yeah, Sarah, why don't you go ahead and just like give us your background on like who you are and go from there. Whatever you want to share.
Sure. So thank you guys for having me. My name is Sara Razi. I'm a medical freedom activist in the Liberty Movement. And I first got involved in politics back in spring 2020 when the pandemic hit. So I originally started a podcast with a former state chair of Yale and her group of conservative friends. I was actually a leftist back then. And then when I surrounded myself with a bunch of conservatives, like I was already pretty radical. Like I was always against the wars. I was always against a drug war. Like I was so pure on those issues. So then when I basically got involved and I started learning about conservatism, I guess I found myself towards right-leaning Ron Paul libertarianism. So I educated myself on libertarianism by reading a lot of books, and I found my way to the Liberty Movement. And how that happened was that one time I tweeted on Twitter, like, why aren't there any libertarians in New Jersey? So then my former regional director, Maggie Anders, she found me on Twitter, and she recruited me into YAL, which is Young Americans for Liberty. Then the former chapter president of my Rutgers YAL chapter, his name's Gabe, he welcomed me with open arms into the Rutgers YAL chapter, even if I wasn't a student yet. So then flash forward into October 2020, I was offered the state chair position for Young Americans for Liberty. I accepted it right away. And then I basically became a state chair, and then I transferred over to Rutgers to run the Rutgers YAL chapter.
Wait, can you explain for a second what YAL is for people that don't know what that is?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Young Americans for Liberty YAL is short for Young Americans for Liberty. It's a libertarian organization dedicated to enacting real tangible change in American electoral politics. What we do, what they do is that they have 3 different parts to their program, such as campus, where I was in as a state chair. And they also have development, where they basically do fundraising. And they also have grassroots, which was Operation Win at the Door. But now OWD is not a part of YAL anymore. It's their own thing. And they have their own pack called Make Liberty Win. So Make Liberty Win branched off into a different office. So basically, I believe YAL, Devo, and Comms are together in the same office in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so the headquarters is in Texas.
Yeah, Austin.
Okay, got it. So, and Rutgers is your university, and what year are you right now at school?
I'm a junior.
Okay, so 3 years. And then did you find YAL through your school? Like, did they have an organization there already, or did you start it there?
No, they already had an organization there.
Okay.
Like they already had it started. I just joined in, and when I joined in, I was actually the only female in the chapter. It was like a fucking sausage fest.
love that. What a queen over here.
Republican moment.
It was literally a
And
woman
libertarian.
moment. Like there's just a bunch of guys that are just fucking around. Then there's me who really wants to get stuff done, who is really, really passionate.
Yeah.
At first it was like a social club, and then I started bringing in more girls into the liberty movement. And like
She brought me in, by the way.
Yeah, I actually found Sarah.
She brought me in. So there we go.
I actually found you, Sarah, when I was recruiting for Rev. I just saw this random girl named Sara Lambie. That was her username. Sarah the Lamb. I remember. And then I DM'd her because she was reading this Ron Paul book. And I was like, I basically did the whole entire YAL script for each state chair that we sent to each people to recruit to our conventions. And that's how I got Sarah. And then that's how I met Sarah. So.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, like, I was fangirling when she messaged me. I was like, oh my God, I got a y'all convention. Oh my God, what? I was just like a nobody with like 100 followers. I was like fangirling. I was like, oh my God, Sara Razi messaged me. It was great. It was great. So
well, and like, as I'll like say, I'm addressing Sara Razi. Like, I'm trying to remember like when I met you because like were we just in a group chat together? Is that how like we initially met? I feel like it kind of was, or we overlapped on Twitter at least.
I think we overlapped on Twitter.
Because like Sarah and I are besties, so
yes.
I love that. Yeah,
we all found each other just like way back a long time ago on Twitter, I feel like, and we kind of made connections.
Yeah, I think of all of you guys, like I've known Hannah the longest.
Yeah.
Because like I knew Hannah like before her account like blew up to like what it is now. Like she had like you had a couple thousand followers, but it wasn't. I want to say you had like 5,000 or 6,000, not like what you have today. And then mine wasn't very big at all at that point.
Yeah.
It was just like me tweeting about my lunch. So
right.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So we basically all met on Twitter, and all of us have met in real life except for me and Hannah, and then Sarah and Hannah. But I've met Courtney, I've met Sarah, and then Courtney and Sara Razi have not met. I have to point this way.
yeah.
But yeah, we all know
One
each
day.
other. Very, like,
One day.
Would be
Soon. I think like
it's gonna happen.
I think before summer, I think we're gonna get to meet in person.
For sure.
So
yeah,
there's things in the works.
Exactly.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of just, our background of like how we know Sarah. She's a great person. I would say that she has done more for liberty activism in the time that I have known her for like 6 months than anybody else has done that I know in their entire lifetime.
And like real world shit. Like she's out there like really doing shit, not just on Twitter.
Could you, so since I've known you since the y'all, or maybe just like last semester when you were running that chapter at your school, could you give like some protests and some things that you did to, you know, actually make a difference so people can see that you're a boss ass bitch and don't just shit post on Twitter like the rest of us?
Yeah. So basically I started off my state chair tenure by number one, doing a charity event. I'm huge on charity. So what I did back in December when we had all the stupid mandates, like the mask mandates, like in person, I organized a charity event called Operation Helping Hand. Then a few months later, I organized the Justin Amash Town Hall event. So that was really, really big.
He came to that town hall, or it was like...
It was on Zoom, but we had over 100 people in the Zoom. I organized it. It was like my first ever event as a state chair that I did by myself. I basically reached out to Amash myself. Like Amash, it's so hard to get Amash as a speaker, but if you literally just reach out to him, he'll do it.
And you're a bad bitch, so of course you got him.
Thank you. And then my first rally was May 21st, 2021 at Rutgers University. It was against the vaccine mandates. So Rutgers actually became the first university to mandate the COVID vaccine. So I basically, I spoke up against it. I basically went ham on Twitter, and then Good Morning America found my tweet and asked me to go on their show. And then a month later, I started organizing the rally against the vaccine mandates. We had a total of 600 people there. That's where I actually found the new New Jersey state chair, Daniel Lachik. Shout out to Danny. He's great.
He's great.
Yeah,
too.
we love Danny. And then that's where I basically got my first internship in politics with Rick Maida. He's running for Congress right now in New Jersey. And that's where I also met Phil Rizzo. We got a lot of speakers that were running for governor or Congress back then. Phil Rizzo was one of our main speakers. Wow. So that was a rally that I organized with the help of TPUSA at Rutgers. So I was also involved with TPUSA at the time as well.
Nice.
And then from that rally, I became an award-winning activist at Revolution 2021. And I also inspired the Students' Rights Campaign. Another thing that I would like to add on is that the problem with Yale is that we are going to be talking about is that with this culture in the national office, a lot of people like to take credit for your own inspirations or your own work. So
Yeah.
I was the inspiration for the Students' Rights Campaign project, which was launched by Yale in July 2021. This is where we challenge schools against these unconstitutional mandates or dumbass policies like pepper spray bans, whatever. And the free speech director, JP Kirby, didn't give me credit for that.
Wow.
Yeah, and as like someone who's been in like one of those organizations, I was in college Republicans, and like as I've seen like Sara like go through all this, because like we've been like texting like through like her like this whole like past like year, I feel like, with all the things that she's gone through like time and time again. The organizations, I think, inherently, like especially on campuses, are good, and I think that I can just about say that for any of them, that they definitely do some good and they have a purpose, but it doesn't mean that there isn't some internal problems going on. My personal experience was with college Republicans, and I will save the whole story for another day, but literally I saw people trying to poison people over college Republican elections. People, you know, cheating and trying to rig the system to make things the way that they want it, when like we're all trying to serve the same cause. So it just can be so much infighting, and I really wish that there wasn't. But clearly it's going to be something that probably unfortunately still happens, like in Sara's case, where she's had to deal with so much garbage, but like so much props to her for like everything that she's done. I was not nearly as active in the organization that I was in, but I also wouldn't be where I am in politics today if I hadn't have been part of it.
Right. I mean, she's just has such a good reputation now. And keep in mind, she was also actually going to school as a full-time student. So it's not like this is like, I can't even imagine doing the amount of work she does not working, let alone she's going to school and doing all this. Like, she's just really on top of it and actually making a difference. And not only that, but she is one of my best friends. And so I just feel like it's really important for her to get her story out there and, you know, go from there.
Sara, I love you so much. I have some other things I have to get to this evening, but I'm so glad that you could be on here, and I love you very much.
Yeah,
and I love
thank
you. Other Sara
love
and
you.
Hannah, I love you guys too.
Bye, Courtney.
See you later, Courtney.
All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay. So, Sara, if you're ready to get into it, I just want to make a disclaimer before she starts that this is her personal story of working for Young Americans for Liberty. This has nothing to do with anybody else who has ever worked there or who has volunteered for the organization. This is just her story, and any tweets or anything that we talk about beyond her story is public knowledge that is out there for anybody to see. We are not exposing anything that has not already been exposed. And that's that. So,
Period.
Why don't you go ahead and kind of start from wherever you're comfortable?
Sure. So I'm going to start off explaining why I became like a huge on medical freedom. So I was told by many coworkers, the problem with Yale National is that there is a huge negative atmosphere out there and it needs to be called out. For example, since I was the New Jersey state chair, everyone looks at my state like the lost cause. The minute I became the New Jersey state chair of Yale, everyone, including all my coworkers, said New Jersey is a lost cause. So I guess I converted that anger that I felt for months against several coworkers, especially people in Yale National who were supposed to represent the org, and I used that anger to basically expose the stick. Sorry, that comment was funny.
Growing up, sorry.
Where was I? Yes. So I basically converted all the anger and I organized a 600-person rally. I wanted to show these people, since we're on the same team together, that New Jersey is not a lost cause. And that's what I did. And now, ever since then, we're seeing lots of grassroots action across the state.
Yeah.
I believe nothing is a lost cause unless if you fail to fight for it.
Amen. That's why I'm still in California fighting.
That's why I'm in Oregon.
Yeah. Nothing's a lost cause.
Terrible states.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so basically, at my first rally, it went extremely well. I almost got arrested, by the way. So when I was protesting, the cops,
Are you doing anything if you're not almost getting arrested? Probably not.
dude, holy shit! Like when I was doing this rally, when I was at the rally, the first one, the 4 cops cornered me, and the bureaucrat came up to me and he said, "Are you Sara Razi?" And I said, yeah. And then 4 cops cornered me. One had his hand on the holster, and they were like, "You are violating school policy." So I basically asked, "What policy am I violating, sir?" And they're like, "You're using sound tech." So the cops were like, cornering me and like intimidating me. I'm like 5'2". These people are like over 6 foot tall. And I was like, oh my God, today I'm gonna die because this guy has his hand on his gun.
Jesus
So
Christ.
yeah. So I almost got arrested that day. I didn't because the attorney talked them down from it. So
Good. Wow.
there's that.
That's crazy.
Oh. And then basically as a state chair, then after my rally, Yale sort of made me into, they put me on this very, very high pedestal where I was basically forced into this position where if I screw up one time, it looks bad for the entire organization. And you know, I was never really used to media attention. Like I know my father, he talked to me one-on-one. He said, you need to be very careful what you say on social media because now you're becoming a figure. And I guess like I was naive, like I didn't really understand what it meant at the time. I just said, I'm doing it for Liberty, Dad. Like literally, I don't want to be famous and I don't want to be known. So I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of like family. My family literally stopped talking to me for what I was doing. Everyone claimed that I was anti-vax, even if I got the COVID vaccine myself. Yale basically made me into their poster child. And I thought I was finally being appreciated. I spent like my entire life being hated by everyone, including like my own friends. I had so many people turn on me. I had so many people call me a terrorist, like as I was growing up because I'm Muslim. I experienced lots of hate within my own personal life, my entire life. And then basically, I thought I was finally being appreciated for once. And when I won that award at Rev, I was like, why me? I'm just a simple girl.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of in shock when that happened. Like, I'm forever grateful that, Yale actually Yale actually appreciated me and my work. But at the same time, I didn't realize what I was getting into. And they put me on such a high pedestal to the point where I couldn't screw up. For example, a problem with Yale National is that what I have experienced is that they do not understand having a difference in opinion. I was monitored for my tweets by several people within Yale National. Dan Taylor would always,
just to explain it, that's like the people in like corporate, basically, for people who wouldn't know what Yale National is, right? Okay, like the higher ups that go over every state chair and all that. Okay.
Yeah. So my tweets were monitored by Dan Taylor, VP of Campus, and Peyton Hornberger, my regional director. They would screenshot my tweets. Peyton would make a big deal of my tweets. Dan Taylor too, and they would say if I tweeted something they didn't like, they would force me to take it down. And I felt like I was being watched. I had to think every single second on my own personal social media posts what to tweet, what not to tweet, what to say, what not to do. This happened for a series of several months. After I was in the media, after I became the poster child of Yale for like.
Was that more you think after Rev happened or like before? Because Rev was August, just to give a timeline. Okay, so that was like the last year, basically. Yeah.
August. Yeah. Everything after Rev went downhill for me. So, I wanted to give Peyton Hornberger the benefit of the doubt for being an excellent boss. I mean, at first I thought she was awesome, like because she was very professional. Might I remind you guys, the Northeast region, when I was a state chair, Maggie was still my boss. And then Maggie stepped down due to personal reasons. Our entire region was a mess. And for almost a year, we were together in a broken region. We didn't have leaders. We did not have leadership. All we had was each other. And we relied heavily on basically Yale guiding us through. The region was a mess. So I decided to give Peyton Hornberger the benefit of the doubt when she became my regional director. She became my regional director back in July 2021 after Haley Gray was our regional director before her. So went to 3.
What's the region? Like how many states would that be? Or is it like West Coast? Like
no, it's Maine all the way down to New Jersey.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So it's like up there.
Yeah, it's up there. Maine all the way down New Jersey. It was I can't even list, there's so many states. But anyways, that was the entire Northeast. What happened was that obviously there had to be a plan to be developed. There had to be a method of how we ran the region. Instantly, I was basically, what happened was that in a way, Peyton basically boxed us in as a region. She basically didn't want us in any group chats. She found out that I was in a group chat with my friends who were kind of like angry at Yal during the time, and she forced me to leave all the chats. If I didn't leave it, she called me one time late at night, and she said, if you don't leave this group chat, you will be on bad terms with me.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah. And she said, this is for your own good. And I was like, okay, so it's for my own good. Great.
Yeah.
So I listened to her, and that's what I kept telling myself for the several months. Back in September, when there was an article out where I got interviewed by Al Jazeera, there's a lot of hate on the internet about it within the Liberty community because, like, A, these people did not agree with me interviewing with Al Jazeera, and B, Yal allowed that to happen. There was a lot of hate for it, and basically I was forced to not speak to these people or to speak to anyone associated with my old friends at Parshberger. Yeah.
And people don't like Al Jazeera because they're supposedly I don't know.
I was called a terrorist sympathizer. Can you believe that?
Like, I would go on like Fox News or CNN and talk shit. You know, like, and they're fucking terrorists. Like, I don't know what the issue is of trying to get a message out there, regardless of what the organization or the platform is. So that's just like stupid. Like, if you're getting a message out there, you're getting a message out there. And I think people just like to cancel for no reason because they're jealous or whatever the fuck reason they want to cancel you for. But who cares what they stand for? If you're getting your own message out there, it should be fine.
Yes,
exactly.
I agree.
Back to how the region was designed, there was a vision that was created that we all had to follow. And there was also a situation where I basically stood up for what was going on. I wasn't okay with how some things in Yale were changing. So I voiced that concern to Peyton, and that was the day I almost got fired. So I voiced that concern. She did not take it. She did not take my concerns to heart. She just dismissed it. She said, if you ever do this again, you are off the team.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't like that just automatically because it's like the amount of stuff that you're doing for the organization, and it's like they're not even for the organization, but just for the world in general. It's like you're actually going out there and like planning protests, getting high named people in the Liberty community to come out to your protests, doing these events. It's like, what possible issues could they have when you're actually making a difference?
Right. I was gonna say, like, what do you think that like was her deal? I guess, like,
right, like, why did she have such a personal resentment towards you?
When so much of what you do outweighs positively like anything that she was upset about or could be upset about.
Because I wasn't a yes girl.
Amen. No, but that's why we love you, and that's why everybody watching this is gonna love you, and that's why everybody is fucking mad about what happened to you and what's happening within the organization right now. You're not a yes girl, and
so the way the region was designed was that, I mean, there was all boys in the region, and they all basically listened to whatever she had to say. There was literally no room for opinions. If you voiced your opinions like me, you would get outcast, you would get alienated, you would get ridiculed. One time I overslept on a regional team call with Yal, and because I had a test a day before, I had the test a day of, and I had to read 80 pages for it. This was for my war class. And I explained that to her, and then I accidentally overslept on the call. So during the call, she called me 7 times in the span of 6 minutes. And when I woke up, I called her back and I apologized. I'm so sorry. I had a lot of work to do. I had to read 80 pages. Like, I'm sorry I knocked out. I barely slept the night before. She said, if you do this again, you will be asked to leave the team.
Jesus Christ.
What the hell?
So, like, where do you think her personal, because it really does sound like it was like a personal resentment towards you. Like, do you have any idea where that might have started, or like what caused her to have such a personal resentment towards you?
I have no idea, but the
Being,
weird
like,
thing
appreciate
is,
her like that.
I have no idea, but another weird thing that I realized is that when she became my regional director, this is the week Haley left. And what happened was that Haley basically reached out to other organizations so they can offer me job opportunities.
Right.
I found this extremely weird. I didn't think much of it. I mean, I didn't do any interviews because I was committed to Yale.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing perfectly fine.
Right.
So I don't know. But I mean, at first I was wrong to basically call out, like, I mean, I wouldn't even say I was wrong. It's just, I guess I was wrong to have an opinion about how they pay their state chairs, on how much a state chair can make, because things started changing after Rev 2021. And I didn't feel comfortable with it. I thought I could voice my own opinions, and she basically alienated me like that.
Wow.
Flash forward to my second rally before that, sorry. So there was an instance where I became best friends with a deputy regional director. Peyton was not okay with that, so she calls her boss, who is the regional director of this deputy regional director, and she basically says, your deputy regional director is not allowed to be best friends with my state chair. That was the point where the deputy regional director got scared. She distanced herself from me for a month. And then I had to prepare for my second rally against the mask mandates at Rutgers. And after the mask mandates rally, I felt extremely alone and isolated because I was being attacked on campus.
Understandably.
What happened was that there was a petition out against me, calling me anti-Semitic, for basically comparing mask mandates to what was going on in Nazi Germany. And I only made a simple connection, and it was taken off grill. Due to my lack of experience within politics, I guess I didn't know exactly how to react to it, so I leaned a lot on my boss to help me through it, because I literally had no one to talk to. I couldn't go to my old friends who once attacked me for doing an article Al Jazeera. I had no one to go to. And I was also isolated from my friends. I was told not to talk to several state chairs. I was told to stay away from anyone who had the connection to Zeb Harshberger. And then at this rally, I was almost punched. I had to wear a disguise on campus. Like, I literally had a hat and, like, obviously my glasses, but I put my hair in a braid. I never braid my hair.
Jesus Christ.
Who said that? Oh. Yeah. So then
really just
so what happened was that before the rally, my boss slowly began controlling me. She would tell me who not to talk to, what not to do. And then basically I was forced to leave all the group chats, like I said. And so then we flash forward to after the rally. So I received a lot of negative press, and that's where tensions were spiraling between Yal, and I didn't I didn't exactly know how to react. Like, I didn't know if I should put out a statement. I didn't know what to do. I'm glad I never gave in to the left that was demanding me an apology. But my mental health started declining, and I voiced these concerns to my boss. And she acted like she cared, but then she would shrug it off. It was like, oh no, anyways. And this was a time when, then we brought on a second state chair, Danny Lawchick. And this was back at Danny's first free speech ball event. And then the second stage.
Sorry.
What?
No, you're good. Yeah.
Sorry. That was when he was brought on. Sorry, that was when he was brought on as a state chair, and I wanted to help him at his free speech ball event. Because A, I didn't feel comfortable being at Rutgers, and B, I didn't want to be alone. Like, I literally couldn't hang out with anyone at Rutgers Yale because I did not want to put them in danger. At this time, I was like a topic of interest in the Rutgers student body. There was a person that was like stalking me. I was getting a shit ton of hate messages in my DMs, and I was being low-key. I almost got doxxed. That was another story. But I wanted to basically go do an activism event with him. She basically denied, and I said, I just don't feel safe. Like, I just want to be near someone that
Well,
that
see,
literally
that's like crazy to me as your friend because like you would talk to me about just your life and like you've never once mentioned that like your life was almost like in danger, you know? So it's like crazy that that was happening and like nobody really knew and you probably didn't even feel safe like talking about it to people, especially because, you know, your organization that you're working for is not taking you seriously. But college campuses are fucking crazy and like they will threaten to do some shit like that. And like
So,
we
yeah.
weren't even aware of that. I don't know if anybody was aware of that because I wasn't.
So basically, then around November, when November came, I got bronchitis, and my boss, Peyton Hornberger, she actually didn't call me or like ever since after the rally, she has not spoken to me in like 28 days. I counted the days. Dylan Oliver, my deputy regional director, only talked to me with a span of 10 minutes in those 28 days. I had very little, no contact with my deputy regional director or my RD, which was Peyton. I had myself. So I just did my job. I did whatever I could to basically boost up metrics, to hit my metrics, or else I would be put on a PIP plan or I would get fired. I contracted bronchitis around the end of October to early November. I had bronchitis for 2 weeks, and I had no choice but to go and recruit on campus because there was no exceptions. We had to hit metrics. We had to hit 1,500 signups, and I was behind. So when I had bronchitis, I went to 5 different campuses in New Jersey, including Rowan University, which is about 2 hours away from me, and they didn't even ask if I was okay, and they knew I was sick.
Wow.
I voiced those concerns, and then they shut it down. Another issue and then that's when everything started going downhill for me.
God.
So even if I hit my metrics, I was spot on with all the metrics. The metrics for each semester for stage were 1,500 signups to several DPMs and then events and activisms.
And then so just to explain that, DPMs is like people in the organization. You're trying to get people to sign up to donate $10 a year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you needed to get 1,500 of those as a state chair per semester?
Yes, 1,500.
Okay. Got it.
So what happened was that I exceeded the metric. I hit like at the end before I was let go as a state chair, I hit 2,300 signups.
Wow.
I hit all the metrics. I was not fired over metrics.
I mean, of course you did. That's still amazing, regardless of if you don't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It shows what a hard worker you are.
Yeah, and so November, that's when everything started declining. I fell a distance and I tried to fix it between me and Peyton. It didn't work because she would take every single second to avoid me. Same with Dylan.
Wow.
Then in early December, things started going very downhill. Several people within Yale National headquarters contacted me, and they were like, "Peyton's saying this and that about you. She's running around the office saying that she wants to fire you."
Are you allowed to say who said that, or is it just no? It's just
I won't say it.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
It's just people high up. That's fine. That's fine. Obviously, but it's people high up there. So once someone high up there hears it, everybody's gonna hear it. You know what I mean? Like right. Right.
She would run around the office screaming, "I want to fire Sara." She would ask even new people in Yale National, like, "Should I fire Sara? Do you think she's a cancer to the culture?" She said that. This is what I've heard. I heard about this because multiple people from Yale National called me, and she was extremely distant. And then on early December, she basically asked for me to have a call with her and Dan Taylor at the time. I thought I was going to get fired on December 6th. So what I did was that I basically sat through a call with her and Dan Taylor. And it was very awkward. Like, we were discussing how to improve the culture within me, what I can do to become better. I even asked, what can I do to become better? And I also voiced my concerns. I was like, I would like to become a better activist. Peyton, can you show me how? And after that call, things were very, very tense. I thought I was going to get terminated, but I wasn't. And actually, that was a standard call before you fire someone eventually. So what happened was that around the month of December, I started looking for other jobs. I started looking for other opportunities because I was scared out of my mind. I was like, something bad is going to happen. I need to prepare. Then what happened around December, I thought things were getting better because Dylan Oliver stopped neglecting me. He actually did his one-on-one call with me that he neglected to do for a month and a half. Because I called them out for that crap. I said, how are we supposed to work together if we do not work together as a team? I'm willing to work if you are willing to work. That entire month of December, I cleaned up my act right away. I answered to every single email Peyton sent me within a minute. I did everything she asked within a minute. I followed every single rule. I hit my metrics. I made sure I exceeded everything to save my spot. The reason why I didn't quit was because I believed it would get better, because she started, putting in the effort. She started getting a lot better. She started having more calls with me. I thought I was going to be fine until when Rutgers decided to threaten us by closing down the school. That's when I wanted to change the direction of my students' rights campaign, because my members were being harassed, and it was impossible to mobilize anyone to end the mask mandates at Rutgers. Because the one lesson that I learned as a state chair was that a students' rights campaign, it's not a fight that's about you. It's about your members. It's about your constituents, what they want, and what majority of the school is actually for and wants to get done. So we proposed an idea to reform our petition to shift away focus from ending the mask mandate, but to reopen Rutgers, because Rutgers, once again, was threatening to close us down. I came up with this idea around. Sorry, I'm just looking at the screenshots.
Pull the receipts. We need the receipts.
Yes.
Stop. It was January 5th, 2 days before our winter training, which is where all the state chairs go. I proposed an idea with Dylan and Peyton on a 3-way call, and I said, how about we shift the focus and get majority of the students to agree on reopening Rutgers? They were on board with it. They even confirmed it in writing in an email. This email states, SRC plan, hi all, here's a recap of what we covered. First priority, followed the SRC program to a T. It's worked for a reason. Use feel, felt, found with your members. Understand that they are feeling like their hard work is not paying off or is having little effect. We want to end this mindset that 1, your members are not working, and 2, they will not have any effect on Rutgers. Your goal is to hit 500 signatures, then phone bank to administration, and stay focused on the goal and the SRC pipeline. Second priority, which, it doesn't matter. But basically, in this email, the last paragraph, she stated that J.P. Kirby approved of the language change. So I will add the language about the booster and the messaging. And she said, it's important that we work on messaging that you and your entire chapter can use when you talk about the petition and gain signatures. Therefore, I will approve it. So she gave me the all clear to mobilize my members. The next step was I did my job. I got 20 members together on a Zoom call, and I basically talked to them. I said, look, this is our time to reopen Rutgers. So we came up with a plan. We delegated tasks. Our chapter was ready to go. We created a mission statement. We created graphics for the new petition launch. And then after LTS, I got a random text from Peyton at on Thursday, January 13th at 11:56 a.m. She said, good morning, Sarah. J.P. Kirby has instructed you to reach 500 signatures on your ending the mask mandate SRC and to do a delivery before moving on to the next SRC fight. This was after I mobilized 20 of my activists to reform our petition to focus on the new relaunch. And I was extremely confused. And I said, good morning. Can I actually talk to JP about this? Because if we go back to the current SRC, my activists are going to be very confused. They are already mobilized for the next fight. And she said they shouldn't have mobilized for the next fight, but that's a directive from JP. I explained the situation, and it's standard that we follow through with the SRC process. I said, I understand that. It's just now, after the whole Zoom meeting, we had the graphics, the mission statement. We were all on board. Now, majority of the chapter isn't going to back me up, and we are further dividing the student body. It's wise to be prepared for the upcoming weeks, which is going to screw with the entire student body, which is why I asked if the petition can include the 3 main points, which is to reopen Rutgers and the mask mandate, and also to bring funding back to the students. So then she didn't answer my text for an hour, so I freaked out and I called her. She said, hold on in the meeting. And then she said, okay, JP Kirby wants to know if you can do a call at 3 p.m. Eastern. He can clear up the confusion. I said, yes, that works for me. And then she postponed the call, said, does 4:30 p.m. work? And I said, yes, will you be on as well? And then she changes the topic and says, keep focusing with recruitment and active members. The Students' Rights Campaign can take a backseat now. JP has to reschedule again. So JP Kirby rescheduled 3 times, basically.
Jesus, fucking horrible boss. Sorry, that's my opinion. That's not Sara Razi's opinion. That's mine. But like, imagine reason. This is the thing that pisses me off. If you don't mind me interrupting, is like the fact that everything that you're trying to do is pro liberty and pro freedom, and like I don't understand why they would have an issue with like anything that you're trying to do.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like,
so I said, I understand, when he can reschedule by, because I would like to handle this situation as soon as possible. My e-board is asking for an update on the petition relaunch since we are running out of time. She said he will reschedule for next week, I believe. That's when he is scheduling future calls. And then she asked.
That's important that he really couldn't take like a 10-minute call.
Basically.
Like he's that important. Okay, fucking narcissist, whatever.
And then a few days passed, and then on Tuesday, January 18th, the day that I was let go, she said, good morning, Sarah. Can we do a call at 4 p.m. Eastern? And I said, good morning. And sure, what's this call going to be about? 4 hours later, she said, it's a call with me and Dan Taylor. I said, did something happen? And then at 4:03 p.m., she said, sending a link for call with Dan Taylor and myself. There should be a calendar invite. 8 minutes later, I was let go without any reason whatsoever. They claimed that it was based on miscommunication. Peyton told my own chapter president that she fired me due to miscommunication, even if I hit all my metrics, when I actually try to communicate within these text messages. And then to another state chair, Peyton said Sarah was not a good culture fit. I would like to also read over an email that I sent to Dan Taylor.
Explain who Reed is for a second, if that's important.
What?
Did you say Reed? Reed?
What about Reed? What?
I heard you say Reed. Was I wrong?
No, I didn't say Reed.
Okay, I thought you said. What did you say? Can you say that again?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I would like to read over an email.
You said read. Okay, I was like literally reading.
Yeah. So
okay.
Flashback to December. December 5th, when I thought I was going to get terminated for the first time. I freaked out, so I emailed Dan Taylor to voice my concerns. I said, Dan, I know that we have a meeting on Monday to discuss cultural expectations. I feel anxious because the last time I had a call with you, it was a warning. So I'd like to share my perspective on what's been going on. The reason why I didn't want to share this before was because I didn't want to violate the chain of command. So I followed through every single chain of command rule for the last 5 months. I was forced to cut off my friends. I was forced to leave all group chats. I was forced to listen to her 100%. And I did. I did all that, even no matter how much it hurt, because I had no choice but to say yes to 100%. And then in this email I said, the reason why, however, my concerns haven't been addressed, so I think it's best I bring this to you. Firstly, I know that in the past I've messed up royally. I tried to be friends with everyone. I got involved in Twitter drama and said very inappropriate things. You and Peyton gave me a warning and I took it to heart. I haven't repeated this behavior since, and I never will again. And from that moment on, I followed every single instruction, removed myself from all group chats. I even stopped using Twitter in any way that can be seen as inappropriate. If I were fired at the time, I would have understood. But you gave me the benefit of the doubt. So I've done my best to move past this. It seems to me that Peyton and Dylan simply do not like me on a personal level, whereas Peter and other state chairs are allowed to collaborate with one another. Peyton explicitly told me that I am not allowed to work with Danny Logic, even though I'm the one who found him. I was really excited to have another New Jersey state chair, but now I'm afraid he's just my replacement. When I was scared to recruit after the Rutgers rally, I asked if I could go to Fairleigh Dickinson with Danny. I was shut down, receiving death threats, and then they told me to keep recruiting at Rutgers, not considering the fact that I was almost punched. Instead, I was so scared for my safety, but no one answered me for hours after the rally. This is not an atypical circumstance. They expect me to answer ASAP, but they don't lead by example. Peyton and Dylan hardly ever called me. In the past week, neither Dylan nor Peyton have called me and told me that they don't have time to visit me to help me recruit. In the week prior, Dylan talked to me for a total of 10 minutes, and Peyton didn't talk to me at all. I have not talked to Peyton in 28 days. Anthony Pecoraro told me that he has a daily call with Dylan, but I never have those, even when I ask. Dylan has scheduled checkup calls with all the other state chairs over a month ago, but failed to ever schedule mine. How am I supposed to learn and grow if my bosses don't reach out to me? I tried addressing these concerns, but I have been shut down every time. Dylan and Peyton visited every other state chair in the region, but when I asked them to come to Rutgers, they declined. They said they were too busy and were not willing to come teach me the ropes. During team calls, Peyton has rolled her eyes at me and cuts me off every time I ask a question or bring up a concern. Conversely, whenever another state chair asks something, she gladly answers questions. When the others hit their metrics, Peyton gave them a shout out. I was the only one who didn't get a shout out when I hit 1.5K signups while I was recovering from bronchitis. When I went out to lunch with Dylan and Peyton, they ignored me. I was sitting in the backseat as they called another staffer and started whispering so I couldn't hear. I wasn't involved in the conversation all day. Later that day, when Michelle called Peyton because she had a question about the Civil Liberties Graveyard, which is this event that we have, Dylan shushed me and told me I couldn't say hi to her because I shouldn't be talking to her. He then impersonated her and mocked her voice. I felt very uncomfortable when I was in the car with them. One time during a team call, I accidentally interrupted the stage chair because my Wi-Fi cut out. Dylan yelled at me in front of everyone at the top of his lungs, and he said, "Stop speaking, Sarah." I felt very embarrassed in front of my coworkers. I have never been taught how to voice criticism to Peyton. Even when I asked, I've tried bringing up some of my concerns, but they think I'm just rude when I'm not trying to be. To be completely honest with you, I've broken the chain of command, gotten advice from other DRDs and RDs because I felt stuck, alone, and abandoned. I respect the chain of command, but when my safety is in danger, I feel like I don't have a choice. Even though Peyton doesn't talk to me, she also disallowed me from working with other state chairs, such as Danny Logic, or speaking to Nicole, Ben, and Dylan Dean.
Wow.
Every time I made a mistake, Peyton lashes out on me. During my time as state chair, I have overslept for a team call exactly once. Besides that, I've never been late, missed on anything, or left early. The one time I overslept, it was because I had to read 80 pages the night before and take a test. These things don't typically happen, but everyone makes mistakes. Peyton called me within 7 times in the span of 6 minutes and told me that she's sick and tired of my drama, and if I screw up again, she'll fire me. I am tired of her threatening to fire me constantly. She blames me for the culture of the team, but she makes it clear that she doesn't want me here. I can't become a better stage chair if I feel unwanted, isolated, and alone. I really value my position as stage chair, but it's very challenging for me to work in this kind of environment. Therefore, I'd really appreciate a call with you anytime before Monday at 4:45 p.m. Thank you, Sarah. So that was the email I sent to Dan Taylor on December 3rd when I thought I was going to get fired. And he called me and he said, "Sarah, you were not going to get fired," but they got rid of me. They let me go on January 18th without an explanation. How I felt was that they basically used me for donor money. They used my chapter for donor money. They put me on this pedestal. And the reason why I'm here today is to talk about the culture of Yale National. And beyond this entire Lauren Doherty bullshit, that's not the only problem. The problem is the culture in Yale National. For example, you have all these staffers that are too busy getting drunk and only hanging out with each other. You have these people who are constantly shitting on states that they're supposed to partner with. Example for New Jersey. Also, during my time as state chair, what I realized is that they put me on this high pedestal to the point where if I screwed up, it would look bad for the entire organization. My tweets were monitored. I was monitored. If I acted up, I would be in massive trouble. The entire region was isolated from other state chairs. Before it wasn't. I was able to talk to my friends from within other regions. And then I was forced to not be in group chats. I was forced to be careful about what I tweeted. I was forced to, keep my mouth shut. I felt isolated. I felt in the dark. I did not like it at all. And this happened for 5 months. My mental health began to decline because every time I had a concern, my boss would either criticize me or she would just excuse it. But the way Yale National works is that every time you have a difference in opinion, they will shut you down, or they're going to either take that opinion, use it to their own advantage. Like, for example, the SRC, the Students' Rights Campaign, which was taken for granted and they didn't even credit me for it. Another thing is that every time you have an opinion, you're automatically silenced. For example, there was a regional director who stood up for me when he saw that I was being treated unfairly back in December. He tried to do the right thing, and he was new at his job. But then the minute he did that, he was alienated because he stood up to injustice. There were several regional directors that were against them letting me go because I was one of their top activists. The problem with Yale National is that they literally cannot take risks. They do not take difference in opinion, because if you have a difference in opinion, you are alienated. For example, take a look at Reed Cooley. What Reed said was correct, and that is a clear example of alienation that people not only in Yale National go through, but state chairs. The state chairs are the people on the ground, and I loved my job. I loved it so much to the point where
You loved it so much.
I loved it. But I do not regret standing up for my members. I do not regret saying, no, this isn't our fight, because at first I was selfish. At first I wanted to end the mask mandate. At first I wanted to end the vaccine mandate because I felt like that was my job to do, since I basically started that fight. And then all these other state chairs just started following suit. So far we've had like 2 students' rights campaign victories, and both of them came up to me and they said, because of you, I did this. Because you inspired me.
That's amazing. And I don't know why anyone would be knocking you for that. And the other thing is, like, if you're selfish in a movement, like, why do you think I care about liberty, for example? It's because I don't want to get a fucking vaccine. And that's it. It's a selfish reason. But there's nothing wrong with having selfish reasons behind your activism, because you're going to have a ton of other people that agree with you that are just too scared to, like, take that step forward and actually do anything about it. There's nothing wrong with being selfish in a political movement at all.
I want to be clear about one thing. I don't want to make this about me. This is about Yale National culture. It's about culture in Yale National. These people, they're silenced. If they speak up or have a difference in opinion, they get shut down.
Right.
There was only one person who stood up for me in that office, and they were alienated. And the culture has not changed, because if you speak up, you will be terminated.
Right.
I believe that's what happened to me. I believe that's what happened to Reed, because we stood up to injustice. We saw what was going on, and we said no, because we have to stand up for what's right. At the end of the day, I don't regret standing up for my Yale chapter. I don't, because they're my people. They're my friends. And the minute when I see them being harassed on campus, the minute when I see that they are not comfortable with something, I will voice that concern, because that's what we're supposed to do as leaders.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And there should be nothing wrong with that. And like, I don't know how much you can talk about the current Lauren Daughtry drama, but obviously what is public information that is out there for everybody to see. Tho Bishop, THO Bishop on Twitter, exposed some text messages that Lauren Daughtry, who is currently the CEO of Y'all, was sending. And again, I don't know who he was sending them to. I had absolutely no part in any of this except that he posted it publicly. Yeah. And I'm stating my opinion on it, right?
About that, like,
yeah. So do you think that like they're just trying to make this, because what it looks like and what people on Twitter are talking about, which is obviously where all of us are very involved in, is Twitter, is that like they're trying to kind of make this like a leftist organization. Do you think that that's true based on your experience? If you're allowed to give your opinion on that, if you're comfortable?
Of course. So what I can say is that it's without a doubt that Lauren Daughtry has been bringing in left-leaning Nick Sarwark libertarians into the organization. For example, look at the policy part of Yale. She has appointed her own left libertarian Nick Sarwark people into the policy.
Right. She hired, so for people that don't know, she hired the chief strategy officer for Dan Crenshaw. I don't know much about Dan Crenshaw. I really don't pay much attention to politics at past the local level, like involving my city. But they did just hire they hired him to be their chief strategy officer. He was the campaign manager for Dan Crenshaw. And like, I don't know, from what I'm hearing, everybody talking shit on Twitter, Dan Crenshaw doesn't seem like a good guy. Again, I don't know much about him. I'm kind of new to politics. I don't have an opinion, but like, a lot of people are pissed about that.
About that. Like,
yeah.
sorry, but like, yeah, about the entire situation. It's no, yeah. What I can say, because I have listened to both sides, I've spoken to basically these people that are calling out this bullshit. I've actually spoken to people inside the organization, such as in Yale National. What I can guarantee to you that majority of the people within Yale itself are against this. They're pro Ron Paul libertarians, but the problem is not a single fucking person is standing up. Like, I swear to God.
Yeah.
I don't regret standing up for my Yale chapter, and I'm pretty sure Reed Pulley.
But that's why they got rid of you, because there's obviously some deeper agenda or some sort of deeper thing that they're trying to push with this organization now that it's like a really big organization and they have a lot of money going into it every month. Like, they're obviously trying to shift the message somehow, and I don't fuck with that because there's already not a lot of libertarian organizations as it is.
Exactly. And the problem is that the problem is within this culture is that, number one, these people are silenced. If they speak up, they will be alienated. And I understand why they cannot speak up against this.
I believe what happened to you, because they probably thought that you would have speaked up about maybe what Lauren was about to do or who she was going to hire. I don't know. But I feel like you were silenced for a reason because they know that you're not afraid to speak your mind.
Yes. I was silenced for months, by the way. I called out a lot of stuff that I did not like because I wanted to make the culture better. I know I didn't fit in because I did listen to everything my bosses gave me. I listened to every directive. Unlike most HRs, I would answer my daily reports within a minute it was being sent.
Mm-hmm.
I would answer the text right away. I would do everything. I hit all my metrics.
Literally on top of it. Like, you were a good...
I was very on top of it. I had... Young Americans for Liberty is not the organization that I originally joined.
I don't think it's the one I joined either. I don't think it's the one that I paid to donate to every year.
Yeah. It is not, because it is, unfortunately, it's losing their own message. They are promoting all these like left libertarian, Nick Sarwark libertarians that are against the Ron Paul movement, that are against what Ron Paul created in 2008. This organization, Young Americans for Liberty, was originally founded as students for Ron Paul. It is pro-Ron Paul libertarianism. It is promoting all these policies to make the world a better place. But because of current leadership that we have, I'm sorry, but the problem is beyond Lauren Doherty. The problem goes to the freaking board of directors, Jeff Frazee, everyone there, because they are pro these change. And also the culture. The culture is a massive problem that I'm trying to lay out here.
It's such a shit show.
No,
and there's
it literally is.
There's certain things that we are not even gonna talk about on this episode because we're just not gonna talk about it. But I don't think that y'all has the best reputation, and I think at this point everybody is just like tired of like giving into like this leftist woke culture. And then when you have fucking Lauren Daughtry over here talking about, oh, we shouldn't be making fun of Kamala Harris. I'm like, why the fuck not? I'm sorry. If this was originally the Students for Ron Paul organization, do you guys watch Liberty Report? Like, all Ron Paul does is like roast politicians, roast Kamala, I don't know how the fuck to say her name, Harris. Like, that is what we do. And I don't understand why there is an issue with like making fun of a female president just because she is the first Black woman vice president. Like, who cares about that? If you're a horrible vice president, we should be able to make fun of you. And like, that's where I was like a little bit turned off, because I really don't try to give into this like cancel culture bullshit. And I felt like a lot of the tweets were like, oh, let's just cancel y'all. But I'm like, if you're telling me that I cannot make fun of Kamala Harris, like, fuck you. Kamala Harris is a piece of shit, you know? So it's like, where is her issue with that? Like, I just don't understand where she's going with that, or why she thinks that that is going to help the message that Students for Ron Paul would want to put out there, you know?
Another thing that I need to like also bring apart to this like entire thing is the culture in Yale National. So we have people that are being silenced for wanting to stand up. If you stand up like me or Reed, you get ultimately alienated. You get fucking axed. They don't give a shit. Another thing is that, like, these people were supposed to be leaders. They teach us to stand up against tyrants, but the tyrants are the people that are running this organization. With all due respect, it's not the organization that I thought it would be, because if it were, we would be standing up for the Ron Paul mission. We would not be letting go of our values and our morals. The fact that we promoted a neocon to the fucking organization to take Reed's place, like, what the fuck? And the reason why we promoted all these, like, Nick Sarwark libertarians, like, yeah, I'm all for left libertarians getting involved in Gal, but without consulting people, without
But it
thinking
shouldn't
about the
be
mission.
only libertarians. It shouldn't even matter left or right. It's like,
I know.
you know, who cares? If you're a libertarian, you're a libertarian. And a lot of those left and right views are going to come down to like your personal life. But libertarians at the political aspect understand that freedom is everything. And it doesn't.
Another thing is that, like, there's also a lot of misinformation going around. Like, we don't even know if what Lauren said was 100% true, because there's always two sides to the story. There's a lot of misinformation going around. So the best way around this is to also accept, I want to be very clear, Yal has made a shit ton of money within fundraising. I can't really comment much on that, but what I can tell you is that the organization is not going to collapse. Not yet. We don't know that yet. But because they are changing their mission, there might be some consequences. We will see what happens. But what I can guarantee to everyone is that I don't think Yal's going to collapse. I'm being very honest. Like, that is a little bit insane. I just think they're switching gears, and they're not going to be part of the Ron Paul movement anymore. They're not going to promote this passionate libertarianism anymore. They're promoting Nick Sarwark libertarianism. They're ruining their entire passion. And not a single person is standing up against this. They're all going along with it like little sheep. And the problem is, when you go along with something, you're contributing to that injustice. You're allowing them to take advantage over you. And that will lose.
People are so scared to get fired, or are they kind of like plans in terms of like they were hired on purpose to push whatever the higher ups are saying?
They're scared of being fired.
Okay.
Because what Yal has done, the reason why this culture is so bad is because they put us on this pedestal stating that we're the warriors of the world, that we are supposed to save everyone. So everyone has this mindset that we're the only saviors. At LTS, I have experienced that there was a bunch of people making fun of TPUSA, and that is not good, because TPUSA actually helped us out. TPUSA actually helps us bring in people into Yao. We help them vice versa. It is not okay to hate on your own partners when they're only trying to help you. We are not the only organization out there that's actually getting shit done. There's so many organizations out there that are wonderful. But the fact that we have become so alienated against people that we think we're all this and that is toxic. And the toxicity is not going to change unless one person does this. And things are not going to be changing in Yale national culture. The culture still drags people down. I remember, like, every time I hear about Yale drama, because I was friends with higher ups in New York, it was always negative. And these people are just unhappy. No one wants to stand up for what's right. And this is unfortunately what we are seeing today. We're seeing a bunch of people who are allowing this to happen. Yes, we have the right to question Lauren Doherty on her hiring choices, but how the fuck can you criticize other organizations without putting your own organization in check first?
Right. And
the office is a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
The office is a fucking shit show, and not a single person has their shit together. Only a few. I'll give them that. But the problem is the culture itself. How is an organization supposed to become better when they're not improving their own culture, when they're not listening to staters' opinions? There's so many staters who are afraid to speak up about certain things that are impacting their own time as state chair, and they're too scared to speak up because they're scared of letting what happened to me happen to them. They're scared. Right. But honestly, how are things supposed to get better in this organization if you don't stand up and say no? Because that is the whole point why I did rallies, because I wanted to say no. I wanted to step up and say no, because we need to start standing up.
Yeah.
How can you call yourself a hero of the world if you're just a coward? If you're not willing to change the culture? It takes one person to build an army, so who's going to do it? If you don't, then who will? The culture in Yale is not going to change until people start standing up for what's right and for our Ron Paul values, for our values within as an organization, because things are changing. I think this organization is going to lead left, and that is a terrible, terrible thing. It destroys.
And I think that's how everybody feels, because like there's been a lot of talk on Twitter, and I have not even stated my opinion on it. One, I don't fucking know what Tho Bishop tweeted. He supposedly tweeted screenshots of a conversation that Lauren had with an employee. I've had fake screenshots made of me before. Okay, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like everything that was tweeted was correct, but this is based off of the public information that we are seeing. If Lauren is trying to make this like a left-leaning organization, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work, because how are you gonna sit here and tell people that they can't shit talk Kamala Harris? Like, fuck Kamala Harris, fuck every fucking reptilian ass fucking politician that's out there. Like, I don't understand how she thinks that that is gonna have some sort of impact on getting more people to join.
Another problem is that the culture will never change until regional directors start listening to their state chairs, because they're the people on the ground. They're the people that are helping running this organization. I want to give credit to New Jersey Yao. Our culture has improved a lot by me and Danny holding it up. We have done a lot for the state. We have a lot of connections. We are actually reforming the state. Just because the Yao national culture is a mess doesn't mean that other states are doing their best. New Jersey Yao has probably one of the best cultures that we have. We have strong chapters. We have chapters that are ready to be rebuilt. Hell, I'm saying we as if I'm still part of Yao, which I'm really fucking not. Because it doesn't feel like I'm gone. I still feel like I'm here. But like,
Yeah.
honestly, how are things supposed to change if we do not stand up and say no? How are things supposed to change if we are not allowed to criticize? And the problem here that I'm seeing in Yale National is that the culture has never changed. After Cliff was terminated, everyone's like, oh, we're going to have a culture change. Yeah, really, where's that culture change? Where the fuck's that culture change? Because none of you are stepping up and begging for it. None of you guys are stepping up against corruption. Look what's happening in Yale National. You all should be standing up for that, but no, you're all fucking cowards. You're not standing up.
Do you feel like maybe because is Lauren the first like CEO that's like a woman?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like because of reasons that Cliff was fired, that maybe she's trying this whole like being extra sensitive tactic just to, give them a good name, if that makes sense? Because obviously we're not going to talk about Cliff, but like the reasons that he was fired, you bring a woman in and she's going to be a little bit more like, hey, let's be a little bit more like accepting and nice and understanding.
Another thing that I would like to bring up is that I'm extremely disappointed because I felt like I was used. I felt like I was used because there was people like Dan Taylor that appreciated my work, and then they threw me away like I was trash just because I wasn't a good culture fit, just because I wouldn't listen to every little thing I said. But I did my job till the very end. I brought in 300 signups, no, actually it was 400 signups, 48 hours before shit hit the fan for me. I did my fucking job. I got in 7 to 8 DPMs at the work training that I had to sit through. I was also forced to keep my camera on during this work training for 27 hours straight.
Wow.
It was a fucking shit show, and I did it just so my boss would leave me alone.
Honestly, that's not even legal. Like after 4 hours, you're supposed to have a lunch break. So how the fuck are you going to sit there?
Well, we did have breaks. We did have breaks. It was just like
leave your camera on.
Yeah,
that's not a break.
That seems super creepy and weird and fucked up.
Like, who fucking cares if on my lunch break I want to go smoke a little pot or whatever? I'm not saying that's what you did, but you know what I mean? Like, on your lunch break, that's like your lunch break. And the fact that they're sitting there making you leave your camera on, that doesn't even seem like constitutional in terms of like work labor. So that's fucking weird. But we don't have to talk about that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion on that.
National is never going to improve until we change the culture within. The problem is beyond Lauren Doherty. The problem is beyond fucking whatever the fuck she's promoting. Because honestly, I don't give a shit what she's doing. Personally, I don't. I care more about the culture. Because take a look at what happened with me and Reed Cooley. The minute Reed stood up was the minute I was like, I need to say something too. Because my experience was different than 95% of the state chairs. I was forced into the face of the organization. I was one of their top activists, and everyone knew that. I was given a standing ovation at Rev. I was given an award. But the minute when I got bad press in October, the minute that happened, that's when everything started falling apart because they finally didn't see me as useful. The problem with Yale National is that they find these activists and they use them for granted. They use them, they chew you up and they spit you out when you're done.
They like exploit you kind of. Like they use you for what you've done, and
that's exactly what we have seen.
Yeah.
And these things, they're going to keep happening to other activists. They're going to keep happening to other state chairs unless if the state chairs finally realize that the org doesn't always care about them. I thought the org cared about me, but they didn't, because the minute I was attacked on campus, I mean, I got calls from Yale National, but they didn't do anything to keep me safe. They didn't do anything.
It's honestly like they
But then the minute
name for their organization, but they don't actually care about the activism that you're doing. You know what
they
I mean?
don't
They're
care,
like,
they overwork. They overwork us. They don't care that
oh
we.
my god, it seems like they overwork you. Like it doesn't even seem like you get fucking paid enough for whatever the fuck you're doing. And I don't know what you're getting paid, and I don't know how many hours you're putting in, but I just know that you were always working, and I guarantee whatever the fuck hours you were working, they were not paying you enough. And the other thing too is like every single state chair that's going to be hired is like a college student, and they're not going to know what appropriate work pay is. You know what I mean? So nobody is going to speak up on that. But it just seems like they really just take advantage of the people that are super dedicated and fucking make you guys work your ass off.
Exactly. They simply didn't care when they just care about hitting metrics. And the minute that they launched all their metrics, that you had to hit a certain amount of metrics, they lost the message. They lost the message of the movement.
Right. They only care about their numbers and like their reputation.
And listen, I
numbers.
was let go even if I hit all my metrics. I got 2,380 signups. I got a shit ton of DPMs. I did a lot of activism events. I've done so much for the organization. But then they find activists like me, they take them for granted, they chew them up, and they spit them out like trash.
They do. 100%.
And I am the living proof of it. And what I can tell you is that, like, to Yale National staffers or, like, state chairs that are listening to this right now, if you ever want to speak up, you should never regret it, because honestly, I know I don't. I know I don't regret standing up for my Yale chapter, because at the end of the day, they came first. At the end of the day, my best friends came first, because I would rather take a punch in the face than have them suffer for it.
Right.
And honestly, I don't regret standing up for what was right at the end, even if that meant that I was not falling in line, because I did everything I could to fall in line for the last 5 months of my life. But I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I'm not the best, but I tried to become the best, to the point where it became mentally draining. I didn't even feel like myself for several months. I was just constant work, nothing, no personal life, nothing. It was just me working. And then I slowly became addicted to alcohol.
And they obviously took advantage of that.
But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, what would be your like advice to people donating to these organizations or people trying to work for them? Like, what would you say? Not even y'all specifically, but just like in general, like what would you tell people to kind of look out for in terms of these? Because like my thing is like, I'll go off on a little spiel here because I know we all need a good little fucking conspiracy theory right now. But like when these organizations get this big, and Forest Mommy made a comment about this earlier, it's like they're gonna start putting plants in these organizations that are literally meant to like shift the focus on no longer liberty. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe Lauren Daughtry is like some fucking communist lefty. I don't fucking know who she is, but maybe they hired her on purpose. The government paid her like $1 million to like get this job. I don't know. This is conspiracy. That's all I'm saying. But well, you know what I mean? Like they plant these people to like ruin those organizations on purpose.
And I'm going to like piggyback on that a little bit and also say like there is something to be said about the fact that a lot of, you know, the staff is college students and they don't have experience in professional workplaces. Like they don't know what's normal. They don't know what's appropriate. And like, I think that that is also taken advantage of based on everything I've heard and taken in. Like, it just seems like that sort of like power play of like, they know that they're taking in inexperienced young people who are just excited to fight for the cause that they want to fight for. And they totally exploit that. And like, you know, they treat you like shit because they can, because they know that you've never really been in another environment like that where you know, you don't know what is normal and what's just like, oh, that's just life in, you know, the workforce, but it's not. It's abusive and it's not okay. Like, it's just icky.
Yeah, and
Another
it's,
thing.
I don't know, if like you're at that age and like your boss is telling you something, like you're gonna just kind of listen because you just don't want to get fired, you know?
Mhm.
And, like, you do feel important, like you're actually doing something.
Another thing that I like to bring up, so like because the fact that state chairs are independent contractors, meaning that they can terminate us and rehire us anytime they want. They don't have to give a reason as to why they got rid of us because we're
Right.
independent contractors. That's different. You're working at will.
Mhm.
So that's how they got rid of me very easily. And yeah, I cannot comment on the pay because like yeah, that's way out of line.
It doesn't matter what went in your bank account.
Yeah. But what I can say is that things around here are not going to change. I was in Yale for a year and a half. That is a very, very long time as a state chair. On top of Yale culture, we have retention. We have like literally freaking retention rates. And we have these like high freaking expectations as a state chair that if you screw up, like me, I was put on a pedestal because I was on TV. I was on national news. I did not want to be on the fucking news, bro. But I did it. So literally more people in New Jersey will stand up. And you know what? That's what I did. My legacy in Yale was influencing the Students' Rights Campaign program. My influence in Yale was inspiring state chairs and raising the state chair bar up to here when it was down here.
Right.
My influence in Yale was all that, and I'm forever grateful to be part of a wonderful organization. But in my opinion, it has lost its path. And honestly, if people do not start standing up for what's right, for what's going on right now, it's going to be lost forever. And this is the most important organization, the Liberty Movement. That's the reason why I joined. But now it's losing its path. It's losing its way. And if people in Yale National do not stand up against corruption, how are things going to get changed?
Yeah.
That's the main bottom line.
So Rachel had made a comment. She's in the chat. She made a comment earlier, like way earlier, about how like y'all had promised certain speakers were going to be at the 2021 convention, which I went to, and they were not there. And this is completely my experience with y'all. Okay, this is nothing to do with Sarah or anything, but like when I am paying. So first of all, okay, y'all was like, hey, we're going to pay for your flight and we're going to pay for your hotel and whatever. And flying from California to Florida, that round trip is going to be like $500. And the resort that they had it at, it was fucking beautiful. And I will never, ever knock them for that. It was a beautiful resort, nicest resort I've ever stayed at. I stayed at a lot of nice places, okay? And the rooms there, because I paid for some of it out of pocket because I extended my trip. The rooms there were like $200 a night. So after I got reimbursed from y'all, they had sent me $300, and then I paid for my ticket, which was $200. And the ticket was, you know, to go to the speakers, for the room, whatever. That was a great deal. I will never knock them for that. It was a great deal. But then they reimbursed me only $300. I'm spending a shit ton of money out of pocket to go to this fucking retreat where I'm promised speakers that were not even there. And they had it on the advertisement. Like they said that Ron DeSantis was maybe going to be there, like Rand Paul, like people who were they just never showed up. And I'm just like, okay, if I'm fucking over here literally spending at least a rack out of pocket to come to this event and you're having speakers on the lineup that were not even there, like, that's fucking retarded. Also, the Ron Paul situation, he almost wasn't going to show up because of COVID. I heard this from many, many, many chains down the line. Okay, this was out there on Twitter that he wasn't going to show up because of COVID and he didn't want to fly with a mask. And I love Ron Paul. He's fucking 85. I understand he doesn't want to fly with a mask. He somehow found a private jet to get there, okay, to speak live. But like literally, I'm telling you right now, the only reason that I went to this fucking convention besides to meet Sarah and my friends was to see Ron Paul, because I know that motherfucker is old as shit and he's gonna die soon. And I was like, I want to see Ron Paul in the flesh before he dies.
You mind if I bring up another point? So I like to also talk about unprofessionalism that I have seen. So basically, what I have noticed what did Drew just say?
I just joined, so I don't know what you're talking about with Sara Razi.
Oh, I love you.
We just joined. We're exposing, Young Americans for Liberty for being.
All right, we're gonna talk about unprofessionalism real quick.
Yeah.
So, number one, at Rev, I mean, we're all fucking around. We're all like having fun. We're with our friends, right? My first encounter with Peyton Hornberger was when she was drunk off her ass, and she basically ran up to me when I was walking with the state chair at like 1 a.m. at night, and she said, "Sarah, I loved you." She hugged me when she was extremely drunk. Basically, I was like, "Oh God," and I was like, She was next to her sister. I know her sister, by the way. So she was next to her sister, and I asked her sister, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm her state chair. Can you make sure she drinks water?" That was my first encounter with her at Rev. And basically, most of my encounters with her were very unprofessional. She would sometimes get drunk during team calls. She was an alcoholic. When they came to New Jersey, they didn't even go to one of my schools. They went to the schools in North Jersey. They basically expected me to drive up to North Jersey, which wasn't in my region at the time. I was in charge of South Jersey. When I was there, what happened was that she was asking the waiter for a beer, and I was like, "What the heck?" So it was just I did not have the most positive experiences with her when I was recruiting with her on campus at Drury University. She was very negative towards other people. Like she wasn't really into it, and she just didn't even seem like she was happy all the time. And, I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. I thought she was an excellent boss at first. At first, I loved her because she was so professional. Like, finally, we finally had a regional director that had her shit together in the Northeast.
Right.
And then it all goes downhill because the minute she tried to control the personal life of me was the minute it all went downhill. And I'm sorry, but I cannot be controlled like that. I believe there should be a balance between professional and personal life. And that's what I wanted. Absolutely. That's the first thing that I voiced to her.
That's okay. So Nicholas made a comment. He was like, "Who cares? People get drunk and do shit." Okay, Nicholas, this is my issue with that is that Young Americans for Liberty sent out this thing that was like, there can be no rooms. No one is allowed to mix and mingle. Do not get drunk. And I was like, how are you going to sit here and tell me not to get drunk when I'm paying for a majority of this trip on my own fucking dime? How are you going to sit there and tell me that I can't get drunk?
Another thing was that there was a rule for staff to not get drunk.
And they did, and that's the issue. It's the fakeness that's the issue. It's like, I'm a fucking libertarian. I have been drunk on every single one of these live streams. But for you to sit there and be like, "Oh, don't get drunk," when it's like you're getting drunk, it's like, why don't,
Well, like, and not to mention, like, not only is she getting drunk, but then she is treating you the way she's treating you for whatever she's upset about. But it's like, look in the fucking mirror. Like,
exactly.
Like, hello.
Like, sober fucking pure.
Here's a fucking award that I got. This is the last good thing I got from Yao. This. And also, like, fucking money for bringing on Danny Logic onto the stage here team. Shout out to Danny, my boy.
This is the thing, okay, is I do not want anybody to hate y'all or stop contributing their money if they feel like they are still a good organization to contribute to. But at the end of the day, I just feel like this is a very important topic to bring light to because, you've had these tweets out there all week. You've had people canceling y'all and like exposing y'all. And like, that's great. But all the Twitter drama aside, Sara Razi is one of my best friends and I know her experience in y'all. And I'm very happy that we were able to give her the opportunity to actually like talk about that. Because that is what you need to make your decisions on. Because I promise that every single fucking thing that she said was true. And there was things that she said that I didn't even know about because she probably felt uncomfortable bringing it up to her friends and shit. And so it's just like, be very careful with who you are donating your money to. Be very careful of these like leftist woke plants that are getting involved in these organizations because I feel like that's what a lot of it is. And they saw Sarah's strength and that she would fight for shit. And that's why they fired her. And that's just my opinion on it. That's not a fact. I don't know. But
it's also good to reassess, like, maybe you've just been automatically donating to them, on whatever the recurring basis is. At some, like, you have to look at the organization at some point and be like, do they still value what I value? Am I still supporting an organization
And the thing is
believes what I believe? And if they don't, stop giving them money. Like,
You have every right. Literally, the reason why I did not step down was because I thought things would get better, but they set me up for failure.
Mm.
And honestly, ever since I've been gone, my life has gone a lot better. Like
Yeah.
my mental health has gotten better. The people who have been hanging out with me, they're like, Sarah, you're like glowing. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? But I mean, I landed on my feet. So
You
like,
did.
if you
You
ever
just
want to
take
stand
your
up,
activism somewhere else where it's actually
Yeah.
going to be appreciated.
take your
Mhm.
activism somewhere else, just because one person, do not let one person fucking control you or make you feel inferior, because
Yeah.
that's what I learned. I mean, everyone, there's also rumors of me being called a grifter. There's people out there calling me grifters, which I fucking know about. Number one, I'll tell you what. Number one, I've been part of TPUSA for the last year and a half. I picked a backup just in case, because my gut said, Sarah, you are picking a backup. Do not stick with y'all 100%.
Hey, man.
And now I'm with TPUSA. I work with them now.
Good.
Yeah, I work with them. I work on 2 different campaigns. So that's what I'm doing right now. And honestly, I'm a lot happier because I'd rather make less money and be happy than make a shit ton of money and be depressed all the time, because that's how I felt, because I was controlled. I was told what to do. If I spoke out for 1 second, I would have been ridiculed. Because at the end of the day, I do not regret standing up for what was right, because I did the right thing at the end. I did my job. And on
Yeah.
that call, on the last call with Dan Taylor, I told him I did my job and I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Period.
And I think that's like, if anybody can take anything from this live stream, again, we're not trying to form your opinion on organizations. We are not cancel culture people.
Let me read the comments. Oh, shit. Damn, this is flooded.
We're not cancel culture people, okay? But at the end of the day, when my best friend has a story to tell, she deserves to tell it. And the type of people that y'all is firing right now, someone that has actually done a fuck ton of stuff for liberty, not in an organization, but in the world, and you're really gonna fire her? Like, fuck you. Fuck you, y'all. Suck my fucking dick. Go ahead and blacklist me from y'all con. I don't need $200 fucking dollars of the flight reimbursement. I can fly myself out, bitch. I got money. Fuck you. And that's it. That's it.
That's Sarah's
really what I want to say. I popped off a little bit. I knew I was gonna pop off at one point, but
I just so I wasn't really aware of what's currently going on with that Lauren lady and everything. So I was reading some stuff just during the stream, and I have come to the determination that fuck neocons, fuck them hiring neocons into that organization. What the fuck is that? How are you gonna have liberty in your name and hire neocons into your fucking leadership of your organization? That's all I have to say.
What I have to say is that people have every right to stop supporting an organization that no longer suits them. For example, we have every right to call out. We have every right to call out what Lauren Doherty's doing. But the problem is beyond Lauren Doherty. It's a problem with the Yale culture. Things are not changing. People are not standing up for what's right. The organization is never going to become better if the people inside that are in power will stand up. And with current leadership in charge, it's not fucking changing. You have to get rid of some people to make it better.
But if I'm so good at fucking figuring out psyops and conspiracy theories and shit. And Lauren, I think you a motherfucking psyop. Honestly, come at me in the DMs. But bitch, you were hired to ruin this organization. And that's what I'm seeing from people that I am good friends with on Twitter. I have been screenshotting all the tweets all week, knowing that eventually we were going to do this episode. And I'm just why the fuck would you be hired unless fucking Joe Biden's reptilian motherfuckers are coming in here and hiring motherfuckers to screw up? Because you know what the issue is? I'm sorry, I'm drunk. Ron Paul is gonna die soon. Okay, Ron Paul is old as fuck, and that's the thing, is they're trying to turn it away from the Ron Paul movement before he dies. And I'm no, we will never let Ron Paul's legacy die. Okay, no matter how old he is, no matter how slow he talks on Liberty Report, we will never let it die.
Period.
Okay? That's it. So come at me, Lauren Daughtry. I would love to have a conversation with you and tell you how you're a fucking reptilian leftist plant.
Chill, calm down. Okay, let's not do that. We don't want to insult other women here. But I don't know Lauren. I met her at Rev, and she seemed nice, but something was very, very off about her. Okay, so I'm oblivious as fuck. because listen, I thought Peyton was amazing at first, but then I was wrong about her because, you know, I'm stupid. But when I hug someone, so I did hug Lauren Doherty because, you know, we were talking and shit. And then I got this weird feeling. It was like, you know that That's So Raven shit? I literally got a vision, but it was in my head. And I was like, this bitch is insane. Stay the fuck
That's
away
like
from
me
her.
when I sense a reptilian, honestly. Like, I get this.
Everyone should treat Lauren Doherty as a reptilian. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, I will.
Oh my God.
You said too.
Yeah, no.
I'm
But I
probably
literally
will, though.
problematic, and I'm just here to shit post and cancel. This is the thing. Like, I'm for cancel culture and the liberty movement, because at this point, like, the liberty movement needs real activists, and it's like, if you're not a real activist, fuck you. I will cancel you.
Well, it's like what Zach said in the comments. He said it's not cancel culture, it's freedom of association.
Right.
We're free to like call some bullshit out when we see some. Like,
Exactly.
shout
again, I'm
out
not
to
cool
Elijah
with y'all,
Drysdale.
but-
Elijah was a former deputy regional director who was part of Yale. He's working on a governor's campaign right now. And he said, Sarah helped me more than anyone on the East Coast when I organized my peace drive through Yale. She continued to independently arrange food drives and charity initiatives separate of the Operation Helping Hand. Complete queen. I love you, Elijah. You're based.
Yeah. And like, I just have to say, like, I'm super big on like reptilian conspiracy theory shit, but like San Jose right now, they have just passed a gun tax. Like, they're taxing all the legal gun owners, and they have to pay $25 a year. And I am literally, because of Sarah, like, I am going to try to actually start a petition to overturn it.
Yes.
I have emailed organizations in San Diego, and I'm like, hey, do you know anybody here that can help me start this? Like, I actually am trying to make a difference, because at the local level, it does help. And so for anybody saying that Sarah is not making a difference at the local political level, fuck you, because you can make a difference.
Fuck you.
It has inspired me to make a difference, and I'm going to try my best. And that's it.
Also,
We'll
Giga
all
Chad
help you
said,
too.
hold on, Giga Chad said this. The only thing that's a lost cause about New Jersey is their pizza. You want to fucking square up, bro? Like what? That's the worst thing you could say to this thing. Also, shout out. This is the only good thing I got from Yao, besides the coffee
the only
mug.
good thing you got from y'all was all your friends and the fucking amazing resume
It
that
says,
you have.
you guys should read it. Top Yao recruitment event, no forced backs at Rutgers. So, what I would like to say is, like, I mean, I guess I could say, like, okay, thanks for the award, but why the fuck would you give someone an award if you're going to treat them like shit?
Where's the respect, bitch?
Like, where the fuck is this respect to you? Like, bro, look how cheap this shit is. Like, do you fucking see this? This fucking claw fell off.
They
cheap
spent probably like $9.95 on it and got it engraved. So you should be grateful, because
literally
what you earned. So shut up and do your fucking job and stop complaining because you got a trophy. Okay,
Yeah.
Sarah? Jesus.
Literally, that's literally what they fucking want. But what I wanted to say is that Yao culture will never change unless if people actually on the inside that are in power pressure it. The way we want this to change, if we really want a better future and if we really want this organization to continue with its values, the people on the inside need to pressure. But the thing is, they won't, because they're too scared.
right.
But when I organized my first rally at Rutgers, I go to the most leftist university in New Jersey. And what I could tell you, I was scared as fuck too, because what happened was that I mobilized all my members to do this first rally with me. You wanna know how many people from Rutgers Yale showed up? 2 plus me. 3 people. 3 people took on an entire massive rally of 600 patriots that day. We did it. We were fucking scared as hell. I mobilized my members to stand up against the mask mandates. And you know what? I took the fucking heat for them. I took the punches for them, because they are my people and they're my friends.
Amen.
Period.
So, if you are too scared to stand up, then you're the problem. And that's why the organization is heading downhill.
We got a bunch of pussy ass bitches.
And if we can't save it, we'll
Don't
start a new
want to fight.
organization.
Thank you, Jenny. Sarah, you better speak.
I love it. But anyways, I feel like we have been talking for a while, but it was a very, very important topic, and a lot of people donate their money to this organization, and that's why I wanted to touch on it. Do you guys have anything to say to wrap it up?
What I would like to say is, like, so this is a quote from Gay Toad. Everyone knows who Gay Toad is, right, on Twitter?
Amen.
So he said, doing the right thing is never easy. If it was, the world would be a far more beautiful place. The path of justice is a hard one and often cruel. It'll beat you into the ground and thieve you of opportunities. Once our peers around us who succumb to the path of the least resistance and that of submission will always enjoy the luxury of simplicity and ease. It's a hard path, but it is also the most beautiful. Those who tread down it find the greatest purposes, bonds, friendships, and those like-minded who refuse to bow down to the edicts of the tyrants.
Amen.
Period.
Literally, that's it.
That's
Fucking
it. I don't think we can say anything else.
Don't give into this left culture.
Yeah.
And
honestly, stand up, because you're in a leadership position for a reason. If you're not standing up, if you're not voicing your opinions to your employers, you're doing something wrong, because it is a huge, huge red flag if you are not allowed to voice your own comments to your employers.
And a liberty organization.
And
A
you're
liberty
allowed.
organization monitoring tweets.
Yeah.
Monitoring fucking tweets.
Okay,
and
U.S. government.
To the younger people who are currently in positions like that at that organization or any other, you are allowed to stand up for what you believe in. You're allowed to speak out against the leadership of your organization if you don't agree with what they're doing. And you can't, exactly like Sarah said, you can't be scared to do it. It's scary because they bully you and they fucking beat you down and they make you feel like you can't, go against the all-knowing God of the leadership of the organization, but you fucking can. So,
and it's okay to be scared, but sometimes you need to rip off the bandage. I mean, if I was the girl that stood up against a first university that mandated COVID vaccine, what makes you think you can't stand up for corruption? Yes, you can.
Exactly.
It's not hard. It really isn't. But, honestly, if you are in a leadership position and you are not being brave enough to voice your concerns to your employer, then that is a major red flag that you should consider whether or not you want to continue to be associated with that type of organization. That's just my 2 cents.
Amen. Yep. I love that.
Okay, well, that was...
I know that was long, but we had a lot to get through. We didn't want to leave out any receipts.
Yeah.
But thanks, everybody, for joining in.
Yes.
I will be
Thank you guys for joining in. I really appreciate it.
Say hi. But yeah, we love you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. See you next week.